Hi everyone, it's Rachel back with the Shades of Orange. Today I want to do another special round of recent reads focusing on books that I've received for review. I have a good variety. There is a horror anthology, there is a coming of age novella, as well as a true crime book. I have some great books to talk about here, so let's get started. First, I want to talk about a horror anthology, and I read Mannequin Tales of Wood Made Flesh, which is edited by Justin A. Burnett, and of course is written by a whole host of authors. If you don't know, I am a huge fan of horror stories that involve dolls, and this entire collection is all about creepy dolls, puppets, mannequins, etc. So when I heard about this, I was very excited to review it. However, my one complaint when it comes to anthologies is that they are so hard to review and rate as a whole. Because they are written by different authors, the odds of liking every author's writing style, every author's take on the theme is so unlikely. And so, as is always the case with short story collections, some of the stories I enjoyed a lot more than others. In this collection, I will say there were two standouts that I really loved, and unfortunately the rest of the stories kind of missed the mark for me. They just either fell flat or just weren't what I was expecting. But I really loved a story by Michael Wehunt, and it was my first time reading something by him, but I definitely want to read more. This was a really dark story about a young girl who has a sister who died of some illness, and now her mother is sick, and then the girl gets sick as well. It's very emotional and dark, and I don't want to spoil it at all, but I'll say it deals with one of my favorite issues that gets explored in fiction, and I love the topic, so that would have been a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed that one. As well, I read a short story in the collection by Kristine, which is about a woman who finds a mannequin that seems to be dressing the same way as her every day, and it gets really creepy, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and now I really want to read more fashion horror. Beyond that, I really didn't connect with any of the stories, but those two were definitely worth checking out. And because horror is so personal, I do still encourage people to check out the collection for themselves if it sounds like something that might be up your alley. Because again, if you're like me, you just are looking for more doll stories all the time because it's just such a creepy subject matter and I just love it. Next, I read a novella called This Grape, written by James Newman and Mark Steensland. And this is one that I read via NetGalley. This follows a young boy and his younger brother who live with an abusive father, and they decide to plan their escape and run away to California where their mother is living. And I would describe this book as a very dark coming-of-age story that is mixed with a thriller. The first half of the book is about them planning their escape. You get to see their living conditions at home and dealing with a bully at school. It's very slow-paced, but I completely got sucked into the narrative. It's very emotional. I connected with both of the boys and really liked them right off the bat and cared about their well-being. I personally am a big sucker for stories that involve parental abuse, so it was definitely a story that was written for me, and I really enjoyed that. But just to let you know, in the second part of the book, there is a dramatic shift in tone and pacing because the book almost becomes a thriller in the chapters where we actually get to see the boys attempt their escape to get away from their father and run away. So if you're expecting a very slow-paced book at the beginning, you might be really surprised when it suddenly gets really fast-paced, really action-packed. And it got a little predictable for me, but I still really enjoyed it. Certainly I enjoy a thrilling narrative as well. So I found the two parts were drastically different, enjoyable regardless. And if you enjoy those kind of books, I do recommend this one. I gave it 4 stars and thought it was just a very good emotional read. Finally, I want to talk about a true crime book called Chase Darkness with Me by Billy Jensen. This is another book that I received via NetGalley, and it follows a true crime journalist / investigator who spends his time focusing on cold cases and unsolved murders because he wants his writing to make an impact and hopefully help to lead to the solving of these cases. He is also the same author who helped to finish the book I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. So this book does deal a lot with that case, and you do get to find out about his relationship with her and the experience of getting to finish that book, talking about how that case was eventually solved. So if you are interested in the Golden State Killer, you probably want to read I'll Be Gone in the Dark first, but this is a really good follow-up to that and gives a different perspective. I did find it quite interesting. At the same time, this is more of a holistic look at true crime, and it doesn't just focus on that case. Instead, every chapter almost reads like a short story where he focuses on a different case that he investigated. And it's really cool because him as an investigator basically uses social media to create public interest. So he is on Twitter and Facebook and almost creates ads about these missing people, about these unsolved murders, and calls on the public to help identify photos, crime scenes, etc. And I just thought it was really fascinating. The book ends with a call to action where he encourages readers of the book to help their own police stations with these cold cases, to reach out themselves and become armchair detectives, to become amateur investigators. And as someone who is a huge fan of true crime and mysteries and all of that, I've always been fascinated by the topic, and I've got to say that I'm really compelled to do something now and to see if I can make a difference, because it was so inspiring, it was really fun, and I just thought it was really interesting that he used very simple tools and tools that pretty much anyone could use, and I just got really gripped into this book. So if you are a fan of true crime, particularly true crime with a lot of personal information in it, because while it's about the cases, you also learn about him as a person, and he is a very likable character in his own story. So I definitely recommend this one. If you're a fan of I'll Be Gone in the Dark or True Crime Addict, this is definitely another book to check out because it's one of the best true crime books I've read in quite a while. So many of them are dry. This one is not. I definitely recommend it. So that's it for this quick round of recent reads. I'd love to know, of the 3 books I talked about, which one are you most personally interested in? If you've read any of these, also share your thoughts down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.